Hey, what's up guys, it's Offbeat here, back with episode number 5 of Talking Shop, where I speak to creative people and find out how they've turned their passion into a living. This week I'm joined by Billy Rowan, aka the Undercover Hippy, and Billy is a singer-songwriter known for his clever, funny, political lyrics, and he also works with a full live band touring up and down the country. He's currently in the process of raising funds for his next album, which we'll go into in detail, as well as numerous other topics including record labels and music PR. As always, this video is just a highlight, so if you want to hear the full interview, it's my longest one yet at 1 hour and 25 minutes, and you can hear it over on iTunes or at my website, iamoffbeat.com/talking shop. So in the meantime, I hope you enjoy these highlights of my latest interview with Billy Rowan, aka the Undercover Hippy. First question I always ask everyone, what is the Undercover Hippy?
The Undercover Hippy is me, essentially, although these days I do perform with a band, so it's like a 4-piece or 5-piece band.
Okay.
But it started out as a solo project about 10 years ago or something. And if you mean why the name The Undercover Hippy, the reason I got that name was I got a job in Singapore when I left university, working as a lecturer, and I needed to make myself an email address, and because I'd kind of left uni and then had to dress up really smart and cut my hair really short and get rid of my earrings and all of that to get this job, I made an email undercoverhippy@yahoo.com.
Yeah, cool.
And then when I started playing songs, I just kind of took that moniker because I thought it would be more fun than having my own name.
Hello and welcome to the show. Nobody knows where this might go. Open your mind to the sound and let the rhythm of the band take hold and dance like it's your last chance before the DJ begins to play trance. Just dance, let the rhythm take hold of your mind, body and soul and lose control and dance like you're the only one here, throwing no shapes so you got no fear and dance, 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 dance. Oi!
And how long has it been running as well? Well, when did you start as a solo artist and when did the band form?
I'm not really sure. I kind of just tend to make up numbers when people ask me that question, and then it changes every time. I think probably 10 years approximately.
Okay.
And
what about the band?
About 8 years. Yeah. So when I started, I kind of started whilst traveling, really. That was my first dabbling with being a singer-songwriter, was traveling, having a CD that I sold, playing in restaurants, playing at open mics, selling my CD to kind of pay for the hostel. And then I got back from traveling and I moved to Barcelona. And then I started recording tracks in my bedroom, built a home studio, recorded the first kind of CD that I was selling. And it was all about MySpace then.
Okay.
Show my age now. So I got a bunch of tracks up on MySpace and I actually got a record deal out of that. I signed with a German label, A Go Go Records,
Awesome.
Released a single in Germany on 7-inch. And then I decided I wanted to play the UK festival circuit. And I ended up moving back here and doing that.
Right.
Yeah. And that's when I formed a band once I got back.
Okay. So what is your setup in terms of like your representation? So do you have a label? Do you have a booking agent? Do you have a manager? All of that sort of stuff?
So for the last 2 years now, I've had a booking agent, which is great. That's because I used to spend a really big chunk of my time just booking gigs. In terms of label, no, I've never had a label apart from that one brief
The German thing.
dalliance with the Germans.
Yeah.
So no, I run my own label essentially. You know,
Okay.
I kind of set up a label, Uncivil Records, and release all my stuff through that. I signed with a publisher last year, So he kind of just takes care of the admin side of the royalties
Right.
collection
So that's like
type stuff.
PRS type thing.
Yeah, so I mean, I was already doing it all myself and submitting PRS, claims every year saying all the gigs I'd done. But having him on board, he's like militantly chasing up every unpaid penny, whereas I would have just submitted it and then waited and
forgotten about it.
Whatever they give me, and that's great.
With the booking agent, what's the story there? Is that someone who you approached, or did they come to you? How did you find that person?
So Rich, he actually approached me before he was a booking agent and said that he wanted to start a booking agency, and we made an agreement where he booked my gigs for like 6 months as a trial run without taking any commission, just to kind of try and set himself up as a booking agent, because I already had like a big contact list of festivals and people that I was working with. Yeah. So I just passed that to him and said, okay, you take over booking my gigs this year. We'll see how you do. And the first year, to be honest, 90% of the gigs in the first year I still booked myself. Right. But then after a year of doing it, he started to have developed his own database of contacts, and now he's doing really well.
Awesome.
Works really hard.
That's sweet, and what a great sort of opportunity for you as well to essentially get
it was a really nice kind of mutually beneficial arrangement.
What is the rough breakdown of income for you and the band in terms of like what percentage you make from gigs, what percentage you make from merch, what percentage you make from streaming and that sort of thing? Do you have a rough idea?
Probably about 70% from gigs, if not more. Yeah, definitely. The vast majority of the money is from gigs. Okay, but then that money is split between the band evenly, and then same with merch, as in physical sales at gigs. That's also split.
That's split evenly, is it?
Yeah, that's split fair. On the night between whoever's playing, basically, regardless of whether they're on the CD or not.
You mentioned crowdfunding briefly a minute ago. You are in the stages of crowdfunding at the moment for a new album, is that right?
Yeah, we're about halfway through the campaign at the moment. It's my most ambitious crowdfunding attempt yet. Yeah. The last one we did about £3,500. But we did it kind of really on a shoestring, and I produced it and did all of the mixing. And this time I really want to work with a good producer. And that's kind of one of the biggest expenses, really. So that and all the studio costs and physical production and mixing, everything, mastering, I want to get about 20 grand, which is loads of money. So yeah,
not undoable though.
It's possible. Yeah, it is possible. I mean, if you think about it, it shouldn't actually be that difficult at all. You know, we've got a lot of fans. We've got 11,000 monthly listeners just on Spotify. 8,500 Facebook fans. So it really shouldn't be hard. Yeah. But what is hard is contacting all of those people. Yeah. So they actually know what's going on. Yeah. And then obviously convincing them to part with some real money.
So let's talk a bit about the album then, and what you're going to do when you successfully raise all of the funds for this crowdfunder.
Yeah, which we will. My last album, Monkey Suit, had a bit of a kind of folk edge to it. Okay. So it also had like a lot of big horns and drums, bass, keys, horns. So that kind of classic reggae festival band type sound. But then also violin, some string section stuff in there. This album, I'm kind of steering away from that and trying to simplify it, trying to make it have more space, a bit more kind of reggae, a bit more kind of typical reggae on the reggae songs. So electric guitar instead of acoustic guitar, drums, bass, keys, layering up some keys, sticking horns in again, and also making the hip hoppy tracks just a bit more hip hop, and not having any kind of folky fiddly stuff in there.
Right.
Still some acoustic guitar stuff. I'm probably going to throw in a couple of tracks that are just really acoustic guitar, singer-songwriter kind of stuff.
And in terms of the sort of like the theme of it, like what's the title of the album?
So the album at the moment is called Rise and Fall. And that track is basically about, so it's very political, about the kind of the established dominant power structures that exist in the world at the moment, and how we kind of perceive them as being all powerful and unmovable, and especially with, you know, the kind of conspiracy theory group of people who give them even more power than they actually have in reality. There's, you know, the secret societies, the Illuminati and stuff, and they've been there since the dawn of time, and this and blah blah, you know. And it's like, no, it's just a system that we've created, you know, and it's kind of running wild, and it's got out of hand, and now we're all, you know, worshipping this free market economic model that is screwing us all over, basically. And so the Rise and Fall, the chorus is basically saying like everything that rises must fall, and referencing like Roman Empire and all of these civilizations that seemed like they were going to last forever, and there was no way they could possibly ever crumble. And then it was always very sudden. You know, they reached a certain stage of corruptness, a certain stage of decadence, where they just crumbled from the inside. And I think that's what's going to happen with this particularly corrupt world that we've created at the moment, you know.
So would you like just hire a PR person for that marketing and promotion if you raise the full?
If I've got the money
amounts,
myself,
like,
I've already like been in contact with a few different companies. So there's like a regional press company, PR company that we've got in touch with, and they're like hit up, you know, like all the 24/7 Crack magazine, things like that.
Okay.
So when you're on tour, like each city you go to, there'll be features about you in those magazines, hopefully.
Right, cool. Yeah.
Talking about the album and the fact that you're on tour promoting it. And then there's digital PR companies that just specialize in digital PR, and then there's national PR, then there's radio pluggers, and they're all kind of different. And you can find a company that in theory does all of them, but what I've been told is if you want it to be done properly, it's better to have different companies doing different roles that they're good at.
And have you used any of these sorts of companies before?
I have, but not with much success.
Right.
But I think, again, it was because I was trying to cut corners. So it's really hard to know, though, because, you know, I know people have thrown huge amounts of money at companies and had nothing back from it. And also bands that have said the best results they've had from PR was when they were doing it themselves. And also, you've got to find people who like your music.
Yeah.
There's no point paying a PR company if they're just not excited by your music.
Yeah.
I think any good PR company, they're very picky about working with people. Like, it's not just a case of you tell them, oh, I've got $4,000 and I want to give it to you. They just go, well, let's hear your music. And if we don't like it, then we're not going to work with you. Because they're really busy and they've got loads of people wanting to work with them. They're almost like record labels these days. It's annoying. One thing I have started to realize, though, and I think this is really important to understand, is that there is a difference between buzz and success. So you get a lot of bands that appear overnight, or at least seem to have appeared overnight, and suddenly they're all over the press, they're all over the music magazines, they're being played on Six Music, and then 6 months later you never hear of them again. They're totally just gone. And that is artificially created buzz that is just made using money by the music industry. So 1 minute someone's never been heard of, then they get a major record label deal, a lot of money is thrown at them, and that money, a certain amount of it tells people what to say. And once you've paid a certain amount of people to say, these guys are the next big thing, then you get that effect that I was talking about before of people not wanting to seem like they don't know what's going on. So then the rest of the music press and the music industry jumps on board that buzz and goes, these guys are going to be the next big thing. And none of it's got to do with whether their music's any good or whether they've got an actual following or whether fans think that they're good. It's just to do with the music industry being self-referential and having a load of money injected into a moment. And then if that doesn't suddenly get the traction and take off and the fans actually go, oh, I really like this music, then it's like, oh, boom. Yeah. And then usually the band splits up the next day and they get jaded and never make music again. Or like, go off and do something else.
And then finally, plugs and shout outs. Presumably you want to push the crowdfunder. So what are the details?
So yeah, I really want you to give me money for my album. The details, if you go to undercoverhippy.com/rise and fall, or you just search on Indiegogo for Undercover Hippy, or you just go on my website and then it's all on the front page. So yeah, there's that. And then we're on tour at the moment. We're down in the southwest, Barnstable, Exeter, and then we're going all up north, all the way to Inverness and back, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Nottingham, Newcastle, Manchester, Leeds. So all over.
And in terms of online, where can people find you? What are your
as I said, undercoverhippy.com is my website. And then Facebook /undercoverhippy, the Undercover Hippy, Instagram.
Are you what platforms are you most active on?
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, mate, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure to interview you, and I wish you the best of luck with your crowdfunder. And I look forward to hearing the music when it is finished and ready for release.
Yeah, you will be getting your copy, seeing as you've already pledged for the
of course,
the album.
Man. Yeah, nice one. All right, cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. So that was episode number 5 of Talking Shop with the Undercover Hippy. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please make sure you support his next release by going to undercoverhippy.com/rise and fall and contributing to his crowdfunding campaign. Now, as I said at the start, this video is just the highlights, so you can catch the full conversation where we go into all these topics in way more depth and a bunch of other things as well. And you can catch that at iTunes or over at my website, iamoffbeat.com/talking shop. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll be back with another episode of Talking Shop soon. Cheers.